Here's why people get ripped off constantly on deals here in Tbilisi, Georgia, and how you can dodge all of those potential mishaps on these beautiful properties behind me. Hello and welcome back to Travel Reports. Today I wanted to go over why Georgia has a lot of different scams and realistically how you can avoid them. Now, this isn't to say that normal people will scam you. Oftentimes it is developers that are doing these less than stellar jobs and less than stellar scams, and they often scam Georgians too. So if you don't want to deal with the scams, here are a few high value negotiation tactics to really make them understand that you're not wanting to be scammed and you cannot be scammed. So often when a developer is selling a building like this one behind me, they often don't have enough money to finish the project and they cannot afford all of the materials. So what do? They sell part of the project before it is finished for a installment period. Now this sounds good on paper, however, often those projects are never finished. They do not have the proper invoicing software, they do not have the proper methodology to finish the project. And so, of course, they never get it done. And so, when I am listing a property myself, or when I was listing a property myself, I would often make sure that the project was finished. That was the number one thing to do, as developers often run out of money and often go bankrupt. Additionally, if they are saying they will swap your apartment for a better apartment, in 90% of cases, that is a scam. Of course, there are some instances where they truly do want to replace your apartment with a new building and they will give you a better apartment somewhere else. However, that's very rare, and realistically a lot of people have lost not just their apartments, but the apartment they said they were going to get due to land registry, and also due to the developer not even owning the apartment. And lawsuits in Georgia don't really protect against these issues. Of course, there is a lot of ways as well to verify whether or not a property is valid to work with or valid to own. However, the vast majority of properties in Georgia you should probably be weary of, and especially if they're being sold by a developer. Now, second-hand properties also have scams. However, the way that they scam is a little bit different. Second-hand properties often are very much on a different scale than those developed properties, as they have land disputes all the time, they have title disputes, and people are truly, unable to spend time with those disputes, so they sell the property. The issue is, if they have 3 or 4 people on their deed or their title, they cannot sell it unilaterally. So they need confirmation from all of the people on the deed. And often what you will need to do is get a clean deed, go to the USSR or Justice House or Public Service Hall and get a lawyer to review the documentation, review the land claims, review the title claims, because there's something that happens during the USSR times where whenever houses were privatized, it's often that they couldn't sell them because they were split up between the same family, and that led to disputes over what people owned and so forth. And you are buying often just one piece of a property, right? And so that's something that is necessary for you to look into. And as I spent more time here again, it is very easy for me to spot these finite details, but for someone who just moved here, I feel it's very difficult to understand exactly how Georgian real estate works and how Georgian mentality works as well. And additionally, you should really look into how real estate returns are really denominated, and the real return in US dollar terms, as often Georgian real estate in dollar terms is not as interesting as people think it is. So, of course, I will be doing some specific videos on dollar denomination and how to calculate dollar denominated returns on foreign real estate, and I'll go over some specific examples. So, of course, if you're looking forward to that, I would appreciate a subscription. That said, of course, with Georgian real estate, you are at risk of truly being scammed. And if you want to protect yourself against this, truly you need to understand culture, you need to understand the legal implications of an apartment, and you need to understand how apartments are structured, because they could be selling you an apartment that isn't necessarily even theirs. And so, of course, if you don't want to get scammed, if you're looking for globalization and internationalization advice, if you need a second passport, a new place to live, feel free to contact me in the description down below. There's a Calendly link, 15 minutes, one-on-one, absolutely free. If you're looking for a way to join me on this journey of internationalization and globalization, feel free to subscribe. If you are enjoying this content, I would appreciate a like. If you really enjoy this content, feel free to share. Of course, stay happy, stay healthy. This has been the Traveling Report, signing off.